Okay, how's everybody doing this afternoon? My name is Kent, and it's a beautiful day here in Southern California. And the waves are coming in really nice. Actually, it's a little flat right now, but I have some nice waves coming in. So it's a beautiful day, nice place to be. And what I want to talk about, nice car right here, Mercedes-Benz. I want to talk about jobs, because somebody would say, if you want to be in a nice place like I'm in right now, have a nice car like this car I'm standing right beside right now, AMG Mercedes, if you want to have all that nice stuff, what do? You're going to have to get yourself a nice job. Here's another beautiful car, a lot of beautiful cars along here. Another Tesla sitting right here. So if you want all this nice stuff, be able to come out here and hang out by the beach, surf during the day, not have to be at a cubicle desk someplace working at a job, the only way you do that is by having a really good job. And in my mind, that really good job doesn't exist for most people anymore. It's like a mirage in the desert. It's like looking out over the desert, seeing that beautiful lake clear out in the horizon, and when you get there, it doesn't exist because it's a mirage. That's what jobs are. They are a mirage in today's world. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons why jobs no longer exist the way they used to, and they're basically just chasing a mirage out in the desert. And the first thing I'd like to say about a job is the fact that jobs are not long-term anymore. They're short-term. Used to be that when you got a job for a lifetime. When you trained, went to college, picked a specific thing to study, maybe medicine, maybe law, that was a long-term investment of your time to get trained in a very highly specialized area. And now in today's world, jobs just are short-term. They don't last very long. In fact, I was looking at some data here recently on Amazon. And they say Amazon is one of the largest employers in the world. And 30% of Amazon's employees, 30% of their employees turn over every 90 days. So a third of Amazon employees turn over, so they're either being hired or they're being fired every 90 days. And that's the biggest, one of the largest companies in the country, in the world, with one of the best business concepts, best business ideas that's working really well right now. In fact, I was thinking today I had to pick up a bunch of stuff, and I thought, well, do I want to go down to Costco and stand in line and buy it at Costco, find a parking spot, or do I just want to do it on Amazon? I thought, well, I don't even care about the price. I don't want to spend my day standing in line at Costco, and I don't want to have to go deal with the Costco traffic and all that problem, so I'm just going to do it through Amazon. So when you got something that successful and you got people turning over that much on a company that's being run that way, that's having that much success, it shows you jobs just don't exist for long term. They're short term. Nobody goes and hires somebody for the next 25, 30 years, 40 years like we did 50 years ago. It just doesn't exist. And the third thing about jobs that are different than, actually that's the first thing is that jobs aren't very long. They don't exist very long. The second thing is that jobs are getting automated. We're getting to the point now with AI and artificial intelligence and driverless vehicles where a lot of things are going to be done through technology. So the jobs just aren't going to exist like they used to exist because there's going to be something else there, some technology that's ready to take the place of the person that used to hold that job. So the jobs aren't going to exist because technology is advancing to the point where there's just not going to be the jobs there used to be. So that job in the future, that mirage out there in the desert is evaporating and quickly disappearing because the machines are starting to do more and more of the work that we used to do. And probably one of the biggest areas that it shows up in is transportation and driving. We're going to see more and more machines driving vehicles and not people, and that's going to make a huge impact on jobs. And how many people are getting employed? How many people will have the opportunity to be employed? And the third and final reason why I say jobs don't exist anymore, or jobs are basically gone, they're dead. It's a concept that no longer has any kind of viability like it used to have. The third reason is because there's no relationship between employer and employee anymore. They used to be, if you went to college, you were hired at a job, and a lot of that goes along with the fact that jobs, like I said, they're short-term jobs anymore. So you don't establish those long-term relationships with our employer. So we don't have this where you may work for a small company and you may get to meet the people that own the company, the small business. So many small businesses have been either shut down because of 2020, what happened in 2020, or they've been absorbed into bigger corporations, or they've shut down because of all the incredible amount of paperwork and all the incredible amount of work that takes in order to run a small business. Those small businesses have gone away, so now we have mega corporations, mega businesses employing people, and it's making it harder and harder to have a relationship with your employer. You just can't have that relationship with the employer because it just doesn't exist. So this idea of having these nice things that I'm walking around right now and saying, hey, the way I get those is having a job is a fallacy. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work. And the longer we live in this kind of an environment, the more frustrated people are going to become. And they are going to become more frustrated. They're frustrated right now. And I can tell you they're frustrated right now by the fact of how people watch the videos I've been making. You know, I used to make cryptocurrency videos, and of course a lot of people don't understand cryptocurrencies. I'm still very big into cryptocurrency, but when you make cryptocurrency videos, not too many people watch them because they don't want to take the time to understand it. And you know, it's just to them, it's something that they don't want to dig into too deeply. And then, of course, I started making videos about the economy. And not too many people want to talk about the economy. That's kind of a boring subject for them too. But if I make videos about jobs, those videos a lot of people will watch because everybody is interested in a job, because we've been taught that a job is our way for having a nice, a great life. Like this guy out here on a surfboard. Actually 2 or 3 people out here on the surfboards. You know, that's the way you get that nice life, is to have a great job, and we've been taught that's the way it is. It just doesn't happen anymore. It happens very infrequently, and it's going to happen even more infrequently in the future. So we need to deal with this as a people, because if we don't deal with it, people are just going to get more and more frustrated, and it's going to make our economy so that things are going to get the workforce to the point where people are going to get so frustrated nobody's going to want to work at all. And then when people don't want to work at all, the only thing left to do then is you're going to have to put them on some sort of universal basic income where people have a little bit of money to exist on. And then at that point, we're just getting whatever the government's willing to give us. So that's not going to be a good place to be. So yeah, this is not a good place to be for our world. And the other thing too, and not to get into the economy or into the economics of it, but I see recently where Saudi Arabia no longer, the agreement that they had with the United States for over 50 years, where they traded oil in the U.S. dollar, they're not going to renew that agreement. So there's lots of videos about how that's going to affect our economy in the United States of America, but the main thing you can just say, I'll just make it as simple as I can, because the more information you bring into these kinds of topics, the more complicated it gets, and people don't understand it, so they turn you off. The main thing is just look out for inflation. If we no longer have the world economies, the world countries buying oil with the U.S. dollar, the only other thing that's going to happen from that, one of the major things that's going to happen from that, is we're going to have massive inflation, because a lot of the treasuries, the debt that our country issues, is being used to buy oil. And if they no longer need that, then they're going to continue to print the money, but we have no place for that money to be used. So it's just going to take more and more money to keep on servicing our debt. Nobody's going to want it, so they're going to turn to alternative currencies, like whatever currency they use, but they're not going to be using the U.S. dollar, which means they'll just print more and more and more, and not going to have to hold the U.S. dollar, which means there's going to be more dollars available in the world, floating around out there without a home. And when they don't have a home, you're just going to have to keep printing more and more and more, because they're going to have to keep issuing the debt. Nobody's really going to want it. So that's just going to be a huge problem for anybody living in the United States. You're going to see a huge divide between the rich and the poor, and it's going to get greater because things are going to become more expensive, because nobody's going to want this debt. And of course, they're not going to lower interest rates in the meantime either. If they don't lower it, they have to keep the interest rates higher, or nobody's going to invest in the U.S. treasuries. Nobody's going to want to buy them because they don't get a very good return. And nobody's going to want to own them because they don't need it for oil anymore. So what does that mean? They just keep printing them. They raise the interest rates. They keep printing them. They have to raise the interest rates even higher because nobody wants it. And they just keep raising to the point where our interest rates are very high. the demand for the dollar is very low, and that just creates an environment where we just have massive inflation in our country, and that's the direction we're going. We're going down the road of being what they very refer to as a banana republic. Look, if you want to know what's going to happen, just look at some place like Argentina and some of these other countries. One of the countries that was able to turn it around is El Salvador, because they decided to get their country back in shape, and then they decided to use Bitcoin as their currency of preference. They put their economy on a Bitcoin, basically running on a Bitcoin. That's their currency, is Bitcoin. So yeah, if you want to get ahead of the game, the only thing you can do is try and invest something that stays ahead of all these problems that I just discussed. And what I would say, one of the main things you could do is invest in something like Bitcoin, or try to hold something that keeps ahead of the inflation rate, and that's going to be hard to do. So in the meantime, if you have anything you want to have me talk about or discuss, I'd appreciate it. And I'll sign off till tomorrow. I'll turn the camera around and say goodbye to you, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully everybody can see me here today, and have a good day. Thank you very much.